Gentlemen, we are live. Okay, that was some strange technical issues.
Man,
That was crazy. I went live, it like started another stream instead of what we already have presented and fixed. And I know there was like two streams going on at once. One already had like 100 something viewers, and then I'm looking at it, and then it just wasn't working, and then it was strange. And I don't know, man. Sometimes things just happen, and it is what it is.
we'll
But
figure it out.
yeah, it is what it is. So shout out to everybody who's joining us. Sorry again for the technical issue. We are live on YouTube as well as Twitter and TikTok, and Billy's channel for some reason isn't working now. It was working earlier, but now it's not working. So I don't know what's going on. We'll have to fix that for future streams.
For
But
sure.
we didn't want to keep you guys waiting. Appreciate you guys joining us. It's January 28th, 2025. Yesterday was WWE Raw on Netflix. Another great episode for WWE. Obviously, I'm just super excited about what's happening in wrestling. I figured we would talk about it. I just want to make sure my audio is good this time, because last time people were saying the audio is not working, and that was Billy, you missed it, but
I watched it. I ended
yeah,
up watching it last night.
yeah, like I sounded like I was in a tunnel in the beginning. So
Yeah, I was like, "What's going on, man?"
yeah, so we got a little bit of kinks. We're gonna have them along the way, but we'll have it all figured out. Hopefully this week, everything will kind of be back to
Yeah,
normal.
we're gonna flow through this. We just got to get things together. That's all.
Yeah. So I appreciate you being here. Billy TKO on YouTube, Ango PW here on YouTube as well. Shout out to everybody joining us. This is the Ango Show live, powered by Ango Media. If you guys want to support the live streams and support the channel, there's a couple different ways to do so. Obviously, we have the ability where you can drop a super chat. If you support the show with a super chat, you get your questions guaranteed answered. I feel like a lot of the times when we do get super chats, we tend to get a lot of really good ones that generate great conversation, which always makes the show a little bit better. Today, we have a super chat goal of 10. Normally, we have a goal of 5. We're going to increase the goal today to 10. If you guys want to support the show, super chats are always an easy way to do so. Again, it guarantees your questions get answered. Me and Billy will do a deep dive with the topics that you're giving us, or the questions or concerns or feedback. Of course, if you guys want, you can also become a member on the channel, which shout out to all of our members today, because we have quite a few in the chat. Darth Bane, Kevin Schiffman, Laws. I saw Justin Kennington in here earlier, Rick Corrales. So shout out to you guys. Appreciate it. Definitely appreciate that. And then we actually have some new ways that you could directly support us on the stream, which is really cool with this new software that we're using to go live. But for example, if you guys want to buy merchandise, there's actually a QR code on the screen, which is really dope. So obviously, there's merchandise for the Ango Show. We got the OG, the Ango Show zip up hoodie, which obviously it's still winter, it's still cold. And then we have the OG Ango 316. There's so much more, but if you guys scan the QR codes, that will take you to some merchandise. I'm listen. I want to push merchandise. I'm gonna start wearing my merchandise. I feel like merchandise is really dope. It goes to show that you guys support me and support the show. If you guys do buy any merchandise, send me pictures of you wearing it. I'll throw them up on the stream and give you shout outs. As well as one thing that I do with all merchandise sales, and everybody who's purchased merchandise before, a lot of people don't actually know this, but I do send a personalized thank you selfie video straight from my iPhone to you. So that is something that you get as well. So if you guys want to support, those are a couple ways to do so. And then we do have, for those who don't like super chats, or sometimes super chat doesn't work, there is a QR code on the screen that you can use. Scan the QR code, and then it will take you to the Stream Elements tipping page. So feel free to do that. On that, you can also submit questions and stuff like that too, and I will read that. So definitely appreciate all the love and support. If you guys aren't subscribed, you guys could even scan this QR code right here, and that allows you to subscribe directly to the channel. So a lot of different ways to do so. And obviously, guys, it's 2025. We want to grow the channel. We want to grow every aspect of this. I don't know. This is a really cool thing. Software is looking good. Stream's looking good. Yeah, Billy, last night, last
Yeah.
night was WWE Raw, man.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Uh, should we start off with a super chat? We already got a super chat.
Yeah, of course.
Tolino Channel coming back with 100 rupees. The last stretch of segment from Drew to Punk makes men's Royal Rumble interesting. Every man has a reason to win, but the women, I am entering Royal Rumble. I think this is actually the most incredible way to kick off the live stream, because it is actually my complaint about WWE right now going into Royal Rumble. The men's build is fantastic. The women's build is very much what Tolino Channel is saying. Yeah, you know, the men have a reason to be there. Everybody has a case in point. Sami Zayn, Drew, Seth, Punk. You know, everybody has something very, very unique to them to justify wanting to be in the Royal Rumble, and it makes it so unpredictable. With the women's Royal Rumble, that's not the case. Billy, what do you think?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit. The women's Royal Rumble, it feels like they're trying to, number one, they're trying to build a lot of star power again in that women's division. Obviously, we've seen the return of Charlotte Flair recently and stuff like that. Rhea Ripley's there. Liv Morgan, we had that feud going on for a long time. So my guess is that there's just not a lot of star power currently, and they need to get that star power together to where they could start telling stories. They brought in Lyra Valkyria. She entered the Royal Rumble last night. Which I find interesting considering she is the champion. But again, obviously the main goal is the women's world championship or the women's WWE championship. But I think it's just a lack of star power, really, is what that's the conclusion that I come to with the women, is there's not a lot of great story being told currently with all of them, and they're trying to find a way to get it together. Obviously, SmackDown's a little bit of a mess. Raw is a little bit of a mess when it comes to these divisions. I don't know, man. I mean, I think they'll get it together, though.
I think when it comes to the Royal Rumble, my issue that I'm having, right, and I said this yesterday when talking about Jordan Grace signing with WWE, when I made the breaking news video, but like it's obvious Jordan Grace will be in the Royal Rumble. I think she should just flat out win the Royal Rumble.
Coming
but
hot.
But I think it's tough because I to a certain degree I kind of agree with you when you say there's a lack of star power. But I don't think it's necessarily a lack of star power that's the issue. I just think it's a lack of focus. Like, I think there's been so many storylines, and like case in point, like yesterday, Paul Heyman drops this promo, and like he won't even talk about Seth Rollins because of the trauma that haunts Roman Reigns, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's things in WWE's men's division from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
that is fully
9,
just focused on.
which these are things that happened a decade ago almost, you know? So like we have gone to this direction where a lot of things in the men's storytelling, there's a lot of things from the past that have kind of come into where we're at today. And I don't think the women get that, which is really strange because I do think there is that opportunity. Obviously the women's division has dealt a bad hand. They've been dealt a bad hand with injuries too. But I do agree with this super chat that like every man kind of has a reason to win, and there's a lot of there's like more personal vendettas in this men's Royal Rumble, where I feel like the women's Royal Rumble approach is, well, it's just 30 women in a Royal Rumble match and winner goes to WrestleMania. Where I think like this men's Royal Rumble, it's more focused and centered around the stories amongst each other, which is again, it's not that I disagree with you entirely about star power, but I think it's just a lack of focus, and there's more focus on the men for sure.
Yeah, and it seems like they're trying to put pieces together too, right? Because we obviously seen Io Sky walk up to Bayley last night on Raw, and we seen them, you know, and obviously we know that story and what was told, and then we see them, you know, the Survivor Series thing and them teaming together and stuff like that. So it seems like they're kind of calling back to that a little bit between those two and what happened last year. Obviously they're both technically, I want to say face now, right? But it looks like they're doing the best that they can with the things that they're given, right?
Yeah.
And I think with the women, personally, I think you're going to see a lot of the story be told in ring rather than the men who obviously have a lot going on around them. I think if they're going to tell stories, you're going to see Charlotte and Bayley, you're going to see Bayley and Io, you're going to see Jordan Grace come in, you're going to see Bianca Belair, Naomi, things like that. Like, there's numerous stories that can be told within the match itself, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Yes, in the match, but
Yes.
building up to the match, I do think
Yes,
that's
there's just been a lack of, like you said, focus, and to me, I do believe it's a little bit lackluster of star power currently, not having a lot of the heavy hitters, right?
So let me ask you, because on SmackDown, Charlotte, they had the video package where Charlotte announces she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. So then do you think in a situation like that, that should have been saved as a surprise, or do you think they handle that correctly?
Um, my guess is there might be something bigger, right? The Royal Rumble is obviously built around surprises. Like that was always the super exciting part of the Royal Rumble. Um, so I mean, me personally, I think that they just have a couple things bigger planned for it itself. So I think it's kind of easy to go out and announce that Charlotte is going to be there. I think people already kind of figured that Charlotte was going to be there regardless, whether they kept it a surprise or they didn't.
Yeah, which I think is very fair.
Yeah.
That's a very fair assessment. Yeah, definitely interested to see how that pans out. Definitely a
Sure.
lot more to talk about with the Royal Rumble as well.
Hmm.
And we're not going to be doing predictions today. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. But I do think maybe on Thursday's show,
Yep.
we can do our Royal Rumble predictions. I don't know why I'm getting interrupted with phone calls. Everybody knows the Ango show is live.
Come on now.
But we should do Royal Rumble predictions Thursday. But it is interesting. I'm looking at the chat too, and a lot of people, some people are saying that Charlotte should have been a surprise.
Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting because I feel like with the men's Royal Rumble every year, we don't really get that many surprises, but the women's Royal Rumble we do. But like, if Becky Lynch comes out at number 30, I mean, that's not really a surprise to me. I feel like everybody knows that she re-signed with the company.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it again, right?
And then we knew with Charlotte that she was coming back from injury. It's not like they were
Mhm.
necessarily hiding it. So
Yeah.
definitely interesting to see WWE's approach here. I'm hoping, because of how great the build has been for the men's Royal Rumble, I am hoping that the women deliver a Royal Rumble that's filled with massive surprises and swerves, and maybe starting some storylines because of the women's Royal Rumble.
I agree.
That would be really unique, you know, and I don't know exactly what to expect, so that makes it kind of fun. But
Yeah, something happened there, guys. I don't know what happened. Oh, we were going so strong. We got this. We got this. This is easy. Yeah, Cora and Roxanne are other possibilities. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. We're going to get this put together. Oh, Ango, I still can't hear you. Why? I see some people saying he's good now. I still can't hear him. Mm-mm. David. All right.
can you guys hear me? You guys can hear me, right? Everybody can hear me? Billy, can you hear me now?
Yep. Yep.
All
Loud and
right.
clear.
Wow, man, that is crazy. This is freaking hilarious, bro. I don't know what the hell be happening. Ever since that day I was talking shit about AEW, my streams have just been
Tony, bro, is after you, man.
I see the chat. You guys are so funny, bro. Uh, man, I don't know what the hell happened. Sometimes you just get some technical issues, and we are working with the new software now, so there's ways to work
Yes.
around it, and so I'm glad we got that figured out. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, let's move on from the super chat. We'll talk more about the Royal Rumble because there's a lot of implications from Raw last night and road to WrestleMania and stuff like that. But
A lot
shout out
going
to Lino channel for the super chat. We did get another one as well, so I want to bring that up really quick. Where is it? Andre Benson dropping a $2 super chat. I'm going to the Royal Rumble. Last night Raw got me ready. So that's actually kind of great super chats, guys, because this is leading into a very healthy discussion. Yesterday was the go home show for WWE Raw. So I need to know from you, Billy, because I have my own personal thought on this. But did yesterday get you excited for Royal Rumble? Do you think this was a good enough go home show for the Royal Rumble?
Of course, I think there's things that they could have done a little bit differently. Um, but overall, I think we've seen, especially on the men's side, right? Because I think that's kind of our focus here when we're talking about the Royal Rumble. We're talking strictly about the men's side right now. Um, I think that they did a really good job kind of playing into the Sami Zayn situation, and that was great. You know what I mean? I love seeing that. Um, and then that last segment at the end is really kind of what put the nail in the coffin for me. I thought last night with Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, I think it leaves a lot of question, right? There's a lot of questions still there. Like, okay, what happens now? Why are we here? Why are we posting saying like, oh, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes for WrestleMania 41 when people were speculating like, oh, it's gonna be Roman and Cody, or it's gonna be John Cena and Cody, or Randy and Cody. Nobody predicted the possibility of it actually potentially being Punk and Cody. But then you see the interaction that they have last night and how exciting it was and how good and real and deep it was. And we'll dive more into it later, but I will say that like I think it was a good enough show to get me prepared, because I'll tell you what, I forgot what day it was. And up until I watched Raw last night, I was like, oh, yeah, the Royal Rumble is this Saturday. And I
Yeah.
think it was coming out of Saturday night's main event where I was like, oh, they're kind of doing this back to back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I definitely believe like the show was good enough. You know what I mean?
It's interesting because my personal thought is that it's so interesting to me to see how WWE back in the day they've done this thing, right, where
Hmm.
um people kind of forget about this, but back in the day they used to do this thing where all the guys would just brawl to close out Raw, and it was kind of like a precursor to the Royal Rumble. And last night what they did was they ended the show with CM Punk and Cody, which
Yeah.
I gotta say, I don't know if that segment necessarily got me more excited for the Royal Rumble, because I don't think Punk is winning the Royal Rumble. Maybe he does, and that would be really cool. And again, we'll talk more about that in the prediction show
Hmm.
in depth. But I personally think what makes me really intrigued from that episode last night was actually not the Royal Rumble, but it made me more excited for WrestleMania. And I think that there's a lot of, Roman Reigns potentially winning the Royal Rumble. Who's to say The Rock doesn't come out at number 31 and uses his executive power? People are forgetting about The Rock. So there's a lot of different outcomes. But the thing, when I see Cody is kind of becoming a little snarky lately. And we've seen this as a trend where it's like, okay, dude, Cody told us what we have planned for WrestleMania. Nobody knows. Nobody's seen it coming. So, when he said that publicly, and then I see these promos with him and Punk, I'm thinking they're just planting a whole bunch of seeds right now, and the plan for WrestleMania is much bigger.
Hmm.
Um, so of course, for me, I think last night's show did a good job of selling the Royal Rumble for sure, but I think it did an even better job for me to get excited about WrestleMania and the potential lineup that they have for it.
Hmm.
And we can't even forget that like John Cena is going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
It is going to be the most unpredictable Royal Rumble. I can't imagine many people getting it right.
Hmm.
Um, just because there's so many directions they can go. And WWE for the first time is really not, they're planting a whole bunch of seeds everywhere, which makes you think, okay, well, what about Sammy?
Yeah.
What about a returning Randy Orton? What about Kevin Owens? Like, there's so many things that can happen. Um, and I'm super excited to see how it all breaks down. So, shout out to Andre Benson for the $2 super chat. There was a couple more super chats that we got.
Oh, was it?
Adam78 dropping a $2 super chat. What did you think of Breaker Penta face to face? So, I don't know if people saw this, because
It was commercial.
this is the weird thing about my Netflix experience. I don't have the ad-free version of Netflix. Unless it got updated without me knowing, I have commercials on my Netflix, but for some reason I was still able to see this. Penta's going to be in the Royal Rumble, so we know that, and Penta goes face to face with Braun Breaker. This is 3 weeks in a row where Penta is on TV in
Hmm.
some fashion. He gets this really, really cool video package, kind of similar to Shinsuke Nakamura, what Triple H would do, where Shinsuke would be able to speak in Japanese and then they would put the English subtitles.
Yep.
Penta does this video package, produced extremely well. Talks about the Royal Rumble and stuff. But what was really dope about this was the fact that he goes and cuts it in English, cuts it in Spanish. They have the subtitles, just really good presentation for him. Then we have this face to face with him and Braun Breaker. Now, obviously, I'm excited about this because Billy, you know, I've been saying Penta should be going for the IC title. Was that a sign? Was that a sign of what is to come and potentially a multi-man match at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship?
Yeah.
I think that was very much the first seed being planted.
Yeah. Yeah. The dogs are barking, man. The dogs are barking. I just got to say.
I look forward to it, man.
So do I. So
I
I
hope
think it'll be interesting. That is two different styles between those two. Very, very different styles.
what's really become a great thing about Penta and WWE, and this is not getting talked about a lot. This is one of my happy moments, right? But I feel like with Penta being in WWE, being on TV, and he's in matches. He did Chad Gable and Pete Dunne. This guy can sell his ass off, and that's not something he had to do in AEW, Billy. So obviously, Penta and Braun Breaker, yes, different styles, but you know damn well Penta's gonna sell his ass off for Braun Breaker. And I think there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff coming from that match.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
uh,
That'll be fun and interesting.
you got to wonder if they rush it or what do they do, you know?
Yeah, we'll find out. Again, I think you said it best. Just another WrestleMania match that they could potentially do.
Yeah. And that's, you know, yesterday's show, for those who didn't know, it was over 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours 36 minutes roughly. So again, not a full 3-hour Raw. It was well paced, but there was only like 3 or 4 matches that happened on there.
Yeah.
And a lot of this was segments and promos and backstage and celebrities and this and that. So
A lot of celebrities last night.
yeah. Well, you know, WWE's got to bring another PLE to Atlanta, bro, because look, Lil Baby, Quavo, and we'll talk about that too because of Jey Uso. But, you know, you have all these celebrities. Kai Cenat got an entrance, and this is what WWE is doing. WWE is figuring out a way to try to appeal to an audience that may not be watching wrestling.
Yep.
Which I think is actually my favorite part about Raw right now is the energy is contagious, but they've done a really good job of saying, okay, we're gonna let these people wrestle. So, for example, we obviously saw what happened with the War Raiders and the Judgment Day. Phenomenal tag team match, and we'll talk about that. But we get a match like that, but then at the same time, too, we have WWE having Kai Cenat come out. He's going to be streaming at the Royal Rumble with iShow Speed. So, like, WWE's done a really good job of mixing these things in. And I love the fact that WWE, meanwhile, they're trying to do all this stuff, they still fit in a way to have a video package for Penta and the face-to-face with Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
It's all about balance. WWE is doing that. People will criticize that there's too much celebrity involvement, but guess what, guys? The product isn't for you. It's not for you. And that if that bothers you so much, then that bothers you. But at the same time, too, WWE is still saying we're going to give you these great programs, these great storylines.
They're feeding it for everybody. They're giving to everybody.
100%. And it's not like Vince McMahon having a guest host and then a shit ton of wrestling matches that suck. We're watching people in WWE actually get to have great wrestling matches.
Right.
That's a common trend now. So yeah. Shout out to Adam78 for the $2 super chat. Tolino channel dropping another 100 rupees. Cody is wearing a mask where we see him as a superhero, but now fingers are pointing towards him and he starts to lose the cool. Homelander is unmasking. That's exactly what is happening here. I mean, that's pretty much it. Cody, you know, and I really blame Carmelo Hayes because Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown when he got called up and going after Cody a little bit. And then they did the backstage segment where Cody was coming from the back from Gorilla and Giovanni Vinci.
There.
Yeah, and Giovanni Vinci was there, and I forgot who else, but Carmelo was there, and Cody just kind of he's starting to have a little bit of an attitude. He's starting to lose his cool a little bit. And to me, there's something really unique about that because people forget when Cody was in AEW, he was a heel, but he pretended like he wasn't a heel because he was this baby face.
Yeah.
And I feel like Cody always wanted to do something really good with that. And he wanted to do more with that. And obviously in AEW, he couldn't. So this is an opportunity for him to be in WWE where he can. Let me ask you, though, because people are talking about this Cody Rhodes, Homelander thing. They shouldn't turn Cody heel. Do you think we're at the point where it really matters if Cody Rhodes is a babyface?
So look, I actually don't think he's going to be a heel. I actually think more of what's going on is he's becoming, because a lot of people compared him to like John Cena, right?
Yeah.
Everybody loved to say like, "Oh yeah, he's just the next John Cena," blah blah blah. And the one thing that was always kind of funny about John Cena is, as great as he was, and let's be real here, he was fantastic. He was what we'd call naive.
Yeah.
He was naive, and he wasn't always aware of things that would happen. And that was kind of like why people called him, the champion that he was, and that was the one gripe that they always had. Like, oh, he's a great champion or a great babyface or whatever, but he was always too naive and was never really focused.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't think it's that Cody Rhodes is going to be a heel or anything like that. I actually just think he's going, and what we're seeing, right? Like when he asked CM Punk that question last night, he said, "Are you my friend?"
Yeah.
I think that told a lot. It's not about like, "Oh, I hate you," and now I'm a bad guy. It's no, I have to ask questions now because I don't trust you. And just because you don't trust somebody doesn't make you a bad person.
Yeah.
That just makes you more open-minded and less naive.
Yeah.
So Cody Rhodes asking those questions, I don't think that has a lot to do with a heel turn. I think it has everything to do with just taking the baby face in a different direction.
Yes. No, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that you said that because it kind of reminds me of for the longest time in WWE and professional wrestling in general, baby faces are kind of fucking dumb.
Yeah, they are.
Like they're
They are,
kind of
dude.
fucking dumb, to be honest. So I love that you said that because to me it's not even so much like a heelish tactic. It's just that he is smart. And I think the key word that you said was naive.
Yeah.
And like I think going back to that, it's very interesting watching this unfold. And obviously with Cody and Punk, Punk made that comment about friends stabbing you in the back, but I'm the friend that's I'm gonna
Gonna do
stab
it
you
in
from
the
the
front.
front.
Yep.
And I love that because I think, for those who may have not understood that line, there was obviously some sort of falling out between Cody Rhodes and the EVPs and Tony Khan in Jacksonville,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
promotion, obviously something led to Cody having a falling out with them. And the rumor has always been that the guys behind the scenes, behind Cody's back, really didn't like Cody's approach to build how he was building AEW and stuff like that. Those are rumors. Whether that was true or not, who knows? But CM Punk did a really good job of mentioning that because then if you look at Cody's responses and everything, he's
Yeah.
kind of, yeah. So he's smart. He's not dumb. And I love the fact that, uh, the last time I remember Cody and Punk having a promo was when Punk
Yeah.
came back.
It was right before the Royal Rumble last year.
Yes, and I love that this was like, I don't know if you remember that line where it was like Dusty's kid,
Yeah.
you're
Mhm.
I'm more blue collar than
Yep.
you, Dusty's
Yep.
kid, whatever. Like to me, it's just I feel like when they're in the ring and they cut promos together, it's magic. And I don't know if Cody necessarily loses the belt to Punk, but I feel like if there's anybody that can really, really, really take the belt off Cody, and I would be extremely happy, it actually would be CM Punk. I
Well,
think a lot of times people have put Punk in this conversation with Walter Gunther. To me, I think, bro, have Cody drop the belt to Punk and utilize that as Punk's official heel turn with Paul Heyman.
Well, the thing about it is, right, is that I actually agree with 100%. Number one, I believe there's just so many ties between these two that are just you can't deny, right? Both of them left. They came back. They went elsewhere. They've done numerous things. Like when you think about the story, actually, and I'm not just saying that. By the way, I'm not just saying that in like a sense of like, oh yeah, because they went to AEW together, or they were in AEW at the same time, whatever. It's not because of that. I think when you just look at their stories and the way that they've been around each other at all times, it kind of makes this story and what they're telling that much more deep. And they're doing a great job telling it on TV too, by the way. They're not just doing it for us fans. They're doing it for the casuals as well. They're doing a great job for them. And that's what matters most. So I think when we see these two on television, I think we're seeing a dynamic of two guys that obviously want it really bad, right? And two guys that, they mesh well together. And we seen that on TV last night. But overall, I would really like to see this match actually take place, because like you said a moment ago, a lot of people have compared and said like, oh yeah, it's going to be Gunther and Punk, Gunther and Punk, Gunther and Punk. I don't think that is actually going to be the case. Now, Ango, I fully agree with you. I actually think that that's actually might have something to do with the favor.
And it would just be really good TV, man.
It would, because it would be shocking, number one. And when you shock me, you're doing a really good job. I think it takes Roman kind of out of the equation and Roman to go on and do something new. So I don't know. I think there's a lot to it. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. Yeah, I think there's a lot they could do there. And it's ever since that first encounter last year and now this year, they're selling me on that. And I love it. I love it a lot. And again, Cody more unmasking his Homelander. I don't know if they ever fully commit to the heel turn, but if there's ever going to be an individual who's going to get that out of Cody, it will be CM Punk, because he is truly an antagonist, So definitely love that. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. He actually dropped another one for another 100 rupees. JD and Dakota are underrated talents held back by their respective stable. Both are out of action now, but both made a statement before being injured.
Is Dakota out?
Yeah, Dakota's out with a concussion from last week's tag team match.
Did see that. I did see that.
So that's tough, man. That's a big blow. Dakota Kai obviously becoming a little bit more injury prone, and it's tough. It's so tough. Kind of watching that unfold, right? Because the women's division and the mid card women's division needs Dakota Kai
really bad.
JD McDonough is in a very tough spot too, because the Judgment Day is it's ran its course.
Yeah, it's dry now.
It's drying out. And that match between the Judgment Day and the War Raiders was amazing. Amazing. Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough go in there and absolutely kick ass. And that was just like a really, really cool thing to see. So when JD has that spot and he gets hurt, it's just like, fuck. Like, him and Dom are actually a good tag team, and there's a little bit of a cool character thing between them. So it sucks, man. The injuries happen when pro wrestling. Obviously, you don't want to see that happen, and that's where it becomes a little bit more complicated. But yeah,
give that man his flowers, though, man. I mean, he wrestled that whole match with broken ribs,
and
a punctured lung.
Yeah,
give that man his flowers. I think, weirdly enough, as much as people make fun of JD and we joke with and whatnot, once that man comes back, there's going to be a whole different feel around him because of what he just did last night.
It's so weird how wrestling fans forget like what he was doing in NXT and stuff.
Yeah, and we talked about it for a long time. JD was great in NXT.
Yeah. So I want to see JD McDonough also be in the mid card going after the IC title.
And I think because I do think now that they have to go away from the Judgment Day.
I mean, there's never been a better time. The Judgment Day stinks.
It stinks.
It stinks with Liv Morgan and Raquel.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. The guys themselves, they put on great matches. They fit in, where they fit in. But I mean, just overall, you have like the love angle and stuff like that. I think it just diminished it a little bit.
I wouldn't mind Finn like coming back as the demon and like being himself, and then him running Judgment Day with just him as the leader and JD and Dom. Maybe getting somebody else, maybe from NXT, called up. But Carlito, Raquel, and Liv should definitely be dropped from that faction.
They gotta bounce.
Yeah. And I'm tired of Dominic Mysterio being stuck in a love triangle, love thing.
Yeah, let that guy go out and wrestle because we seen last night how good he was.
And then it's not the first occurrence where we got to see how good Dom
No,
is.
we've seen it numerous times.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chats. Guys, we are at 4 super chats out of 10, so we have not hit the goal yet. If you guys want to support the channel, definitely feel free to do so. Super chats guarantee that your questions get answered. We are live on Twitter as well, and TikTok, which is interesting because I totally forgot that I can't see the TikTok chat on the software. So, you know,
live on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm reading the chat on TikTok, and
hold on, wait, let me go pop in there.
You know, I don't know how TikTok works really, like as far as live streaming goes, because it's all new. But
yeah, I don't know either. I'll be honest though, I really like TikTok. I actually do pretty well on TikTok. I'm gonna plug myself, guys. If you want to go follow me on TikTok, it's Billy TKO. Go follow me over there.
Yeah, and just go ahead and like the shit out of the stream on TikTok. There's like 200 something likes on there. I don't know how TikTok works honestly as far as live content goes, but we're there. Because that's the job. That's the goal, is to be everywhere and have the Ango show everywhere. So obviously with your guys' support, we could grow the Ango show. Hundreds of people are tuning in right now live, so thank you to everybody who is doing so. And then just a quick reminder, if you guys want some merchandise, I actually totally forgot to plug this, but if you guys buy an Ango shirt or a hoodie or a zip up or anything like that, the good news is there is a promo code. We have a promo code, so if you just use the code WINTER, there is 15% off your entire order, which means less profit for me, but it means more opportunity for you to get something at a discount. So we have the Ango 316 shirt, the Ango Club premium hoodie, the Ango Club heavyweight tee, the OG TAS.
See, I like that one. It's simple.
I need to wear this one, bro. I don't know why I haven't been wearing it. I gotta start wearing it. And
I like that one. I like simple.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in merchandise or anything like that, winter 15% off for the entire order. Any person that buys merchandise while we're streaming, it's gonna pop up. I think it should pop up. But either way, I'll do shout outs for those who purchase merchandise. And of course, I send a personalized video on that as well. So shout out to everybody who is watching live. Billy, last night on WWE Raw, we had the women's tag team championship match.
Yeah.
I have my own personal thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
Just give me your reaction to it. What do you think?
I wish they would get rid of those titles. I promise you with everything I love, I promise. I wish they would get rid of them. I mean, you see like Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez or Rodriguez, whatever, beating them. Not sure how serious. We're taking the tag champs. There's not a lot of story being built around them. What are we doing? We introduced the mid-card titles. Those 4 women should be a part of that mid-card division.
Yeah.
We don't even have enough women to fill a tag team division. So I don't know. My thought is get rid of the tag titles. I don't know if you will, because Triple H is dying on the hill that he needs to keep them. But I don't think you have to. I think you could just get rid of them. That's my personal thought. Ango, I'll let you go.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry about that. I was just looking. Right. I wanted to correct myself. It was a non-title match.
Yeah, it was.
It was a non-title match. I just wanted to say, first and foremost, I agree. Get rid of the women's tag title belts. There's no need for them. Nope. And if I'm gonna be just completely honest, Jordan Grace is coming in, Naomi and Bianca, and all of these women that exist in the women's roster, I would rather see much more important storylines than the shit that they're giving us with the women's tag team
Yeah,
division.
I mean, at this point, just rid them. Just rid them.
If there's more emphasis on the mid-card titles, who cares about the women's tag titles? I know why they do it, but it's just not.
Yeah, I just wasn't a fan, dude. I mean, there's not like much else I could say about that. I just was not a fan. I don't know what it is about Liv Morgan either. I don't know why, but recently she has just put me in a place of like, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of her anymore.
Of who?
Liv Morgan. She
No,
just seems exhausting.
There's I have no problem with her, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like the direction they've gone with her.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing is I don't like the direction that they're taking with her.
Yeah.
Somebody said Mid Morgan.
Nah, I'm not gonna say some shit like that because to be fair, to be very honest, I feel like Liv Morgan is a very talented individual. I think the problem actually stems more from.
Yeah, I don't think it has to do with her.
Yeah.
It's not her personally. It's the booking surrounding her. Yeah, because after Rhea, she was supposed to be booked a little bit stronger than she is right now.
You know, there's this whole thing about her and Raquel being like a serious push for the women's tag team division, and I just don't like that idea.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of that.
It's interesting.
For sure.
There was another super chat. So let's take a look at it. Right hand cam. Actually, let's remove this from the screen. Ew. Okay.
Oh.
Right hand cam dropping a $5 super chat. For Raw to be in Atlanta, the crowd was majority. Wait, what? I can't read. Sorry, buddy. For Raw to be in Atlanta, the crowd was mid. Majorly of the barely got any pops last night. Cam, come on, bro. I know you could type better than that. I'm assuming you mean majority of the people got pops last night. Nah. That crowd was hot.
Atlanta was popping.
Atlanta was a great crowd. I'm not going to slander the crowd at all whatsoever. I thought they did phenomenal. But we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
And we are going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Logan Paul walks down to the ring, interrupts Seth Rollins and Gunther.
Yeah.
Logan Paul is getting massive heat across the entire segment.
Nothing wrong with that.
So Cam is saying that this crowd was not it. This crowd was it. Yeah. Logan Paul had more heat than Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
So I just want to put this in perspective. There's two things that we need to talk about here. One, we need to talk about Logan Paul and this reaction and where Logan Paul stands. I think we have to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think we absolutely need to have a conversation about WWE and how they are orchestrating this energy and how they are getting these reactions and why WWE is as hot as it is. I think they go hand in hand with the Logan Paul situation. So what I want to do, Billy, I want you to kind of break down what we saw with Logan Paul. He comes out, he interrupts Seth Rollins and Gunther. The crowd goes crazy for him. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was crazy seeing, number one, Logan Paul get the reaction that he did. He's gotten these reactions before, and he's gotten like really, I guess, really, really big heat, right? But this felt like go away heat. And honestly, a lot of people would say that's like a bad thing in this predicament. And technically it's not, right? Technically, this is a really good place for him to be in. And then WWE, just to give you the stamp of approval, puts him in the ring with Gunther and Seth Rollins, right? Hey, this guy is going to be something. We obviously know. I think he's going to be doing this full time now, if I'm not mistaken. But they put him in the ring with these two guys and made him look serious, right? Logan's not a joke anymore. Yeah. Logan's not the YouTuber. It's kind of the situation like his brother, right? A lot of people with the boxing stuff, they were like, "Oh, he's just a YouTuber turned boxing. You know, he's not really a boxer." Logan is a WWE superstar who just so happens to do YouTube. That's what it is now.
Yeah.
And I think, hearing that a lot of people would like to see him in a big time WrestleMania match, and obviously he enters the Royal Rumble and stuff like that, and people wanting to see him in a big time match at WrestleMania, I think speaks volume to who Logan has become, right? Logan is great at what he's doing. You can hate him all you want. That's giving him a reaction. And what's the one thing that we know about WWE? It's that they love a reaction. And this guy's got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're asking me, I love it. I'd like to see, if they're not going to give Cena a title at Mania, give me that. Give me Logan and Cena. We're seeing a lot of their stories kind of be played out through the internet.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, Logan Paul. I want Logan Paul. No joke. I want Logan Paul versus Gunther.
I wouldn't be mad at it.
And I want Logan Paul versus Gunther because I think you made a really good point about Jake Paul. Like, yeah, he's not just a YouTuber; he is a boxer. The IWC will disagree with this, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, Logan Paul generates clicks. Logan Paul generates viewership. Logan Paul, there's a reason why they put him on Netflix. Logan Paul is a star attraction. The difference is Logan Paul has jumped into WWE and has become a WWE superstar. Now, Logan Paul has had controversies.
Mhm.
Logan Paul, on a personal level, there's things I obviously dislike. However, I'm talking about Logan Paul, the WWE character on screen of what he's doing. Whether he's getting go away heat or not, it doesn't matter. The crowd is on fire when he's in the ring with Seth Rollins and Gunther.
Yeah.
Now, let me just set the tone here.
Do you think?
Logan Paul getting chopped by Gunther will be a viral clip.
That man's gonna have some red skin.
And this is what people don't understand about professional wrestling. They don't want this in professional wrestling because they don't want outsiders in professional wrestling. So therefore, they hate the idea of this. But Logan Paul should wrestle Gunther. He should wrestle Gunther, and he will probably have a great match with Gunther. And the reality is, it will force Gunther to be a little bit of a baby face. But Logan Paul getting that kind of response is very telling. And
Yeah, for sure.
the IWC loves to gatekeep, and I think that's a very big mistake. I mean, I don't think it's panning out well for some of the other things that are happening in professional wrestling, but WWE is clearly in the era of trying to attract new fans. So if Gunther is the top heel in the company, he's one of the top guys, he's the world heavyweight champion, and Logan Paul goes out there at WrestleMania and has an absolute banger with him, and you get a whole bunch of viral clips from it, guys, all that's really doing is helping Gunther, which is what WWE should be doing to begin with.
Right.
And so, therefore, when I see them in Atlanta and I see that this crowd is incredibly hot for him, he could barely speak. It's getting to the point where Seth Rollins and Gunther are having a little bit of difficulty even standing in the ring with him because they can't hear anything. It makes for great content. I also want to talk about Logan Paul outside of WWE. Logan Paul is rumored to have a boxing fight against Conor McGregor. There's rumors that it might be Jake. There's rumors that it might be Conor, but it might be Jake and Conor or Logan and Conor. But TKO as a brand would benefit massively from Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor in India. That's the rumor thing. The rumor is $250 million per person fighting. And obviously, when a billionaire from another country calls and says, this is a fight that we want to make, and they're going to do a stadium show, listen, that's a lot of money. And Logan Paul should have that fight. Now, we can sit here and talk about Logan Paul being a great boxer, bad boxer. Man, he's not really a boxer.
Don't matter.
Guys, if I'm WWE, if I'm TKO, I might actually want Logan Paul to win the World Heavyweight Championship.
What used to be a joke is now a business adventure.
Yes, and so here's the thing though: if Logan Paul fought Gunther at WrestleMania, yeah, the IWC is going to fucking cry about it because that's all they fucking do is they whine and they cry about absolutely every fucking thing because it's not cool in the IWC. But if you're running a multi-billion-dollar business, I'm thinking, fuck, get the world title on Logan Paul, have him beat Gunther, have him shock the world because this kid is already good in a WWE ring. He cuts promos, he gets heat, people fucking hate him. Put the belt on him. He's not an outsider anymore. So put the belt on Logan Paul, okay? And yes, I fucking love Gunther. I really do. But I wouldn't mind this. If the boxing fight is happening, I would much rather have WWE's big World Heavyweight Championship belt around the waist of Logan Paul as he enters the boxing ring against Conor McGregor. And TKO, by the way, they have Conor McGregor under contract with the UFC. They have Logan Paul under contract with the WWE. Prime is a sponsor for both companies. It's a massive, massive, massive idea for business. So no matter how many times these wrestling fans will hate on Logan Paul, and I understand why they do, I'm not discrediting them. I don't think it's not valid. I think it's but this kid gets into the WWE. He became a WWE superstar. And at the end of the day, it's not like this kid is like bad at it at all. He's not.
No.
I don't care. I don't care if Logan Paul fucking rehearses his match for a month before the match. Guess what? What I care about is put something good on my TV. Logan Paul stood there with Seth Rollins and Gunther, and he did extremely well in that situation. And he did one thing that I've never seen anybody else do. And Logan Paul's actually very smart. I'm not going to throw out 29 other men. I'm going to work smart and not hard. I only have to eliminate one person to win the Royal Rumble. And guess what? For years and years and years in the WWE, I'm going to toss 29 men over the top rope, blah, 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 blah. No,
Logan Paul just told you don't got to.
And he don't got to. And every year in the Royal Rumble, they always have that spot where a guy is hanging out by the ring, under the ring.
Yeah, there's always that one guy.
Logan Paul should be, honestly, one of those guys where, like, he doesn't even wrestle most of the match, and he gets a really quick, a really quick elimination, and he doesn't even have to win the Royal Rumble if you don't want. What you could do is have Logan Paul get eliminated, but whoever he eliminates in the Royal Rumble could be a way to start off a feud going into Elimination Chamber to become number one contender for Gunther at WrestleMania. And imagine Logan Paul in Elimination Chamber match, which, by the way, Elimination Chamber is going to have a lot of people there in attendance. Logan Paul could get to Gunther without winning the Royal Rumble, but this guy is very, very talented. And I'm not going to gatekeep pro wrestling. I want wrestling to grow. I want WWE to be bigger. I want AEW to be bigger. I want TNA to be bigger. Logan Paul winning the World Heavyweight Championship isn't as bad of an idea as many people would say. And this is my last comment about this. Logan Paul went in the ring with two of WWE's top stars, and the crowd was absolutely on fire to the point where you couldn't hear him talk. Now, just keep in mind, whether that's go away heat, real heat, whether people just think he's a great heel, it doesn't matter, because the one thing that Logan Paul does extremely well is he embraces it. And when Gunther looks at Seth and Logan Paul and he says, actually, Logan, I want you to win so I can embarrass you, right? He says that, and then the crowd goes crazy again. Because what would the crowd want to see? They would want to see Logan Paul get his ass kicked. Now imagine if Logan Paul were to get his ass beat the entire match against Gunther. I'm talking Brock Lesnar squash style, only for Logan Paul to somehow cheat or do something different.
Eliminate him.
And that would be massive. And guess what? Wrestling fans want to hate on it, but WWE is not dumb, and that's exactly why WWE should do it.
Yeah, I see some people in the chat. I just have to say real fast, I did use the terminology of go away heat, and I used it in the wrong term. That is indeed not go away heat. It's just really good heat.
No, I think some people genuinely fucking hate Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, some people do hate him.
They're going to bring up the Forest incident. They're going to talk about crypto and this and that. But we live in a society, too, where people will judge something based off a headline and not the full context. I don't know the full context of Logan Paul's crypto stuff. I do remember a long time ago about the Forest thing.
Oh.
And here's the thing. It was really dumb and it was really stupid. And Logan Paul apologized for it.
People really don't like this, man. Like,
yeah,
they really don't.
It is what it is, and at the end of the day, the way that I look at it is It's a scenario in which when I see Logan Paul, a lot of people hate him, a lot of people love him, but I'm not going to talk about people on a personal level because I don't know them on a personal level. It's not fair for me to do so. So what I will say is the person that's on my TV, the person that's a character, he does a really good job. As far as all that other shit, I'm not going to sit here and talk about people's drama or backstage stuff because guess what? At the end of the day, Logan Paul is I'm watching a TV show. You know what I mean? And I think one thing that wrestling fans need to get the fuck over, and this is becoming a really big thing in the IWC, it's fake outrage for a lot of stuff because they just want to justify their opinions and they're all fucking butthurt and it's fucking stupid. It's immature. And that's the reason why I think a lot of people in the IWC are like that. You know what I mean? And it's just fuck that shit, bro. Fuck that shit. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple super chats that we got to get to. I didn't even see them, so my apologies for that. So let me get to those really, really quickly.
Let's do it.
And then we'll wrap it up. Where we at? Tolino Channel dropped another one. Shout out to Tolino Channel, 100 rupees.
Shout out.
Imagine Logan, Dom, and New Day as a team with Hogan and a mask as mascot. Crowd will boo them out to Mars. Tag title suits well for Lay Cool, Bella Twins, PG era. Tag titles, yes, I do agree with that. Lay Cool, Bella Twins.
Back then.
Those titles could have worked, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Regarding the faction, no.
Yeah, that's no good. That's
no.
good.
It's funny, but you don't need to do it. You don't
no, please don't do that.
Yeah. The New Day, amazing heels last night.
Yeah, man.
Amazing stuff.
Wow.
I don't think they get a lot of credit. They deserve a lot more credit. They're sick.
The work that they're doing right now is outstanding work. I'm obsessed with the work that they're doing.
Yeah.
Just, with the whole the family and whatnot playing into it. I love it. And then the New Day sucks shirts.
Yeah.
Come on. That's amazing.
Using the family as a way to sell merchandise. Like what a
come on, man. And then having the backstage announcer like, oh yeah, the son, the greatest Atlanta superstar is back home.
Yeah.
She's like Cody Rhodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love it.
That was some really good shit, bro. Honestly, that was
Braun Breaker?
Bro, this company. They're firing on all cylinders. Props to them. They made Raw pretty enjoyable.
We also didn't talk about Jey Uso, which I want to talk about a little.
We are going to talk about that before we conclude. Right. Let's just get through these super chats really quick, because there was a couple more. I wish there was a little bit easier to navigate this, so I do apologize that it takes me a second. Kevin Schiffman dropped a $5 super chat. So shout out to Kevin Schiffman. He's also a member on the channel. So big shout out to him. He says, does Jade show up to Royal Rumble and go after the person who attacked her? Again, we're not doing Royal Rumble predictions today. We're doing that Thursday, but we can address this because I actually have a quick answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think Jade returns at the Royal Rumble.
Okay. All right.
I don't think so. Maybe she does, but
she was working in the Performance Center recently.
Yes, but there's been nothing confirmed that she's cleared. Okay. We don't really know the severity of her injury, which I guess technically that it could make sense for her to come back. Right. But I don't want them to rush that. They kind of fucked up with the storytelling here about who attacked.
Yeah, Jade. It seems like it's gotten lost a little bit. So I would rather have her just return to SmackDown and then they start showing us like some footage of who actually did it, and then she finds out and oh my god, it was Naomi, and then or whoever it was. I'm just saying. Like imagine if Jade returned on SmackDown and she's cutting a promo. And she's like, I want to know who attacked me. So I went to the backstage trucks or whatever. Mm-hmm. I said, find the footage. They found the footage, and we're gonna find out who attacked me. And I'm calling your ass out. And they show the footage, and next thing you know, it's Bianca or whatever. Like I'd rather have them do that versus she just showed up randomly on the road. Right. I prefer the same thing. I agree.
Cool. Shout out to Kevin Schiffman for the $5 super chat. And then there was one from Justin Kennington for $1.99. He says, women's final four, Royal Rumble, Bianca, Jade, Naomi, and Grace. Again, I'm not doing Royal Rumble predictions.
We're going to talk about it.
I fuck with this.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I fuck with it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. But I have, again, my own prediction we'll get into on Thursday.
Justin, I'm gonna remember your super chat. We'll address this Thursday as part of the predictions, but I do fuck with this idea. Jordan Grace should win the Royal Rumble. So spoiler alert, Thursday, I'm gonna tell you guys I predict Jordan Grace winning it. All right, very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I think we should address Jey Uso.
Yes.
What you got for me?
Dude. Because I wasn't on yesterday's stream. Obviously, you talked about Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
WWE needs to slap the World Heavyweight Championship on Jey Uso sometime this year.
Yeah.
After what I've seen, this man, I want to say most over right now. I don't think there is another person or superstar in general that is more over than Jey Uso.
Yeah.
I feel like, because again, I wasn't on yesterday's stream, so I'm just kind of giving my thoughts a little bit here. I feel like WWE missed an opportunity here. But again, I trust WWE, and I'm going to let them do that because a lot of people, especially knowing Jey has lost so many matches, one thing I will say is that that doesn't really matter, right? The amount of matches that Jey Uso has lost, or championship matches, I should say, doesn't matter. What matters is how he lost them and how he was portrayed. So WWE, I see a lot of people that talked about like, oh yeah, like WWE failed him, like it's they're not doing right by him. I actually would fully disagree with that. I would say that WWE is doing perfect by him because they are just making him more and more and more loved. If you guys remember LA Knight and the effect of LA Knight, right? And how over he was kind of immediately when he became LA Knight. He moved really fast. WWE put the title on him, and then after that, it just kind of dimmered away, right? It's kind of died down since then. The thing about Jey Uso is I don't think that will happen because they keep making you want more from Jey Uso. So when it does happen, oh, you're going to have goosebumps down your spine. So last night, you see him in Atlanta. He's coming out there and he's addressing, the Royal Rumble and how that's going to go. And he walked out there with Quavo. This guy has the coolest entrance. I genuinely think he might be the coolest guy on the roster just from like watching as a fan. Yeah. You see him and you're like, oh, that guy's cool, right? He comes out there, addresses the Royal Rumble, says that he can beat Gunther. And like, I actually, after the match that I seen, yeah, I agree. And I think what WWE needs to do is find a way for him to get away from his cousin. We have to start moving in that direction for Jey to get what he rightfully deserves, a world championship in WWE. Because this man, I mean, we talk about the Romans and the Codys and things like that. Simple. Now, the thing about it is I think he would be the type to like let you know beforehand when he was cashing it in.
I wouldn't want that though.
Would you not?
No, I think you have a lot of money to be made with Yeet in the bank, and I think Jey Uso. I mean, I'll say this. It goes back to what I was saying about Logan Paul winning the world championship. There's just, you can't ignore the reactions and you can't ignore the possibilities there.
Yeah.
Jey Uso comes out with Quavo. Jey Uso is cool with all the celebrities. Jey Uso has the greatest entrance. Yeah, is his moveset a little bit limited? Sure. Does his spear kind of suck? Yeah. Should he change his moveset a little bit? Should he really like come up with a different finisher? Yeah, I think he should. I think there's valid claims there. But WWE is a business that is a television business. They are getting viewers. They are all about getting live viewers and fans. And WWE has a different mindset now. And I think the way for WWE to grow their business is by doing what they're doing with these celebrities. And I just want to make it very clear that Jey Uso should become Money in the Bank winner at one point. And I think they should absolutely get to the point where Jey Uso does get that push. He doesn't need a 6-month-long title reign. He doesn't need anything crazy.
Yeah.
But you should reward him for his hard work. This was a tag team guy who broke off. And at the same time, too, look at what Jimmy's doing on SmackDown. He's doing a fantastic job. So break them apart and let Jimmy maybe change up his look so that way people could really tell the difference between them. And
Jimmy's doing great over on SmackDown, by the way. Those matches he's having with Carmelo Hayes, amazing. That whole segment has been amazing.
100%. I'm 100% of the belief that Jey Uso should get a world championship, and I don't need Jey Uso doing 20 fucking super kicks, and I don't need him doing 20 fucking Canadian destroyers, Samoan destroyers, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I don't need him
a
doing
5-star
fucking
match every time.
I don't need that. Jey Uso, he's got the catchphrase, he's got the entrance. You're such a WWE fan, Ango. Yeah, well, guess what, buddy? I'm speaking from fucking experience of being a fan. At the end of the day, it is clear as day. You can see WWE's strategy. Strap him up, put the belt on him. He's extremely over. Don't be fucking biased towards other wrestlers because you like them more because they can do better moves or whatever. At the end of the day, I fucking love Will Ospreay. I love Will Ospreay. But is Will Ospreay walking through the crowd getting reactions like Jey Uso is? No.
Nope.
And the thing is, Will Ospreay is Will Ospreay and Jey Uso is Jey Uso. But if I'm going to look at it from a perspective of who am I putting the world title on right now, from a business perspective, I would put it on Jey Uso. Mm-hmm. If I was AEW, I would be building Will Ospreay up every single week as the ultimate babyface to the point where he gets the same reactions. That's my point. I'm sure people are going to hate that and clip that, but I don't really give a fuck because that's the truth. Last thing I want to talk about, just very briefly, Tolino Channel actually dropped the super chat to give to lead this in. Yeah. But if you want to be positive, stay away from Cross. Karrion Kross is again lurking in the background on WWE Raw. Man. He has the segment with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's kind of turning heelish. He made some comments to CM Punk. We have the backstage segment with him and Karrion Kross, CM Punk, and then Karrion Kross as well. Mm-hmm. Karrion Kross, everything that he does, he's the devil. He's fucking lurking in the background. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to lead to Sami Zayn eventually becoming world heavyweight champion. And he also needs to win world heavyweight champion. And by the way, if anybody doesn't think that Jey Uso would be a good world heavyweight champion, imagine how that heel turn would be for Sami if it eventually happened that Jey got it before him. So I'm going to leave it very, very, very clear for you guys. For those who think that Jey Uso shouldn't be a world champion, go fuck yourselves. He's completely over. He should win the World Heavyweight Championship. But imagine the cinema and the storytelling that you get when Sami Zayn, after all of this stuff from Karrion Kross lurking in the background, imagine how impactful it is when Sami Zayn fucking snaps on his brother, Jey Uso.
And I do want to say Karrion Kross, just to mention him a little bit more. Karrion Kross is like, I mean, he's another guy that you're going to see win a world championship, if not this year, then next. I genuinely think the devil, I tweeted it last night, the devil is working extra hard to get under everybody's skin.
Yes.
And that speaks volumes about Karrion Kross's character.
100%. Guys, we're one super chat away from hitting the goal. I don't know if we're going to be able to hit it in time because Billy has to get off.
I have a phone call I got to take.
Billy's got a very, very important phone call. So if we hit the super chat, great. If not, I understand.
I feel horrible.
But I just want to say, I feel like there's been a lot of great things in the chat today and a lot of great super chats and a lot of great comments. I just want to highlight this one right here. Kross is that devil on your shoulder.
Yeah,
he very much is. And I think that is, it's a very, very, very big thing to take note of because they don't have Karrion Kross working matches every week, but eventually they're going to strike a very, very high angle for this guy. And I think people are going to enjoy what is to come. So remember, the devil is lurking in the background and good always beats evil. And Darth Bane with the buzzer beater, 199. He says, got it. Shout out to Darth Bane. Guys, shout out to everybody who dropped a super chat today. Darth Bane, Tolino Channel, Justin Kennington, Right Hand Cam. Shout out to all of you guys. Just a phenomenal stream. We're going to call it here. Billy's got to go, but we'll be back tomorrow. Yep. We'll talk NXT. We're going to talk so much more. Thursday, Royal Rumble predictions. Anything else, Billy?
No, that's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys watching. This is the Ango Show powered by Ango Media. Appreciate all of you, and we'll see you next time.